No postseason tournament a year ago. So here we go. Zach Edey, the 7'4" giant, wins the tip. Ivey's pass broken up. Good defensive play that time by Jarvis. Ivey the kick. This is Stefanovic. He's missed his first two. And there's Edey to clean up the mess.
Weak side glass. He just gets great real estate.
We asked James Jones, how do you prepare for something like that? He said, you can't. So we thought about bringing a dump trunk to the center of the floor.
He's going to have a big number. And when they can score, they can get back and at least load up their defense.
What a shot. Ivey on a three-point jack.
Don't worry about the speed of Jaden Ivey and keeping him in front. And then he can do this. Score behind.
Nolan bounces out. Gabadon now into the paint. This is Jarvis. Beautiful maneuver to get around Ivey. Then it's tipped up and in. Nolan. As the feeling out process continues. So much unfamiliarity between these two programs. Ivey again. Splash. Just crazy to think, Debbie, how far he's come. We'll get into his story as the day goes on. Could very well be the most improved player in the country. Beautiful backdoor cut. Swain on a catch.
Really good job.
Bez and Bang with just an exquisite pass. And a good offensive start for Yale. Here comes Ivey. And he's fouled.
I mean, they produce inside.
Do they ever? Swain around a screen. It doesn't need much daylight, and he sticks it. James Jones told us about it yesterday. He's been with his son every step of the way and has been such a source of inspiration. And Swain with a pretty good start.
He just needs a little separation to get into the rhythm of his three-point attempt. Oh, good back screen.
Not sure there's a better passing big man in the country than Travion Williams, dropping a dime to Thompson. Jarvis. Open three. Cotton on a triple.
Now you got to come down this end and try to post up against him.
Swain working on Thompson. The fadeaway shot, and he buries it. And Yale with its first lead. The Yale Bulldogs making their early statement. First. Beautiful cut right down Broadway.
Jarvis hasn't made a three all season.
Ivey. My goodness. Ivey in the open floor, finds Hunter in the corner. Gets a three. Saw the hot shooting start for Yale. They've missed their last four. And the question, Debbie, for them, aside from Swain, who else can give them some scoring? And right on cue, that is Mbang.
Well, he was 6'2" in the 7th grade as he blocks that shot. He was 6'10" in the 10th grade.
A little bit of a growth spurt. What a shot! Mahoney's prayer is answered.
It's part of the reason why Purdue has this 8-point lead.
Here's Williams, such a threat. Boy, that face-up maneuver. He can pass, he can score. Gabadon, and now they'll reset. This was always the question today for Yale. Offense against this Purdue defense. Nolan, big basket as he goes, glass. Young man they inserted into the starting lineup right towards the end of their non-conference schedule. And one of the changes that really spurred them on. Williams stepping middle. Here's Gabadon trying to find some daylight. Underneath the pass. And a beautiful finish in traffic by Isaiah Kelly.
His player away from the rim. Now they bring the double to Williams. So Yale trying to mix up their scheming defensively, but Purdue having no trouble handling playing through the double team.
He's been one of the backbones of this team, stepping into a more prominent role as the season has gone on. Nice little soft touch. That's Nolan again. Notre Dame women's team gets ready to open their tournament bid tomorrow. She is certainly thinking about her boy here in Milwaukee. Edey, another offensive putback. Hunter against Mahoney. Curling underneath. This is Edey, and it's just too easy. A man among boys. Can Yale answer as we are inside of 3 minutes? Mahoney, massive shot for Yale. Here in Milwaukee. Mahoney.
Beautiful.
It's almost like he's playing horse.
I mean, beautiful. Way up above the square.
Told you, Zach, growing up in Toronto, what a player he's become. 80 with a block. Under a minute, 50 seconds plus. Ivey. Open three. Morton, no. Look at Edey. He is picking them apart. In the bloodbath that is the Big Ten. And sometimes those Big Ten teams get to the NCAA Tournament. What a finish inside! A magic trick!
Keep an eye on Hunter. He's got this assignment on Swain for Yale.
Gabadon desperately trying to get his game going. It was a struggle of a first half for him.
So you're managing those minutes really well.
Swain trying to find his spot, and he goes last. Ivey 18 in the first half. That's a long two, and he sticks it.
Yale doing a good job of getting back.
Ivey, boy, the artistry of this kid. Talking about Edey and Travion Williams. As Painter and his staff have divvied up those minutes masterfully. Stefanovic, finally.
And he needs to keep shooting.
Gillis on top, my goodness. Ivey couldn't squeeze it. Gillis, no. Offensive rebound, Williams. Stefanovic around and in.
When they want to lock down defensively and get some easy buckets this way. Like, look at that pass now. That was a spectacular pass. Look, I think Stefanovic is a great three-point shooter.
Across the midway point of the half. Swain, terrific defense by Morton. Jarvis, tough fadeaway shot. Debbie, the other thing about Purdue in a year where the transfer portal was so crazy, they don't have a single transfer on their roster. Incredible familiarity as first, the talented freshman with a three-point jack. Great job by our studio crew keeping us abreast. What a pass. Williams.
It's all about space. Got to evaluate, calculate space.
I'm impressed. Jarvis deep, corner two, got it. Into the corner to Noling. 7 to shoot. Tough little floater.
He's been solid all game.
He was one of the first around the country to use offensive and defensive coordinators. They use those whiteboards to signal in the plays, and boy, has it worked. Their system.
Plugging in what shots you want and who you want taking them. It's a very deep playbook, as we mentioned before, but having a whiteboard over there, what you want to have happen with the last 2 minutes of the game is you get a chance to empty your bench and get some guys a chance to get some March Madness minutes.
What a stroke by Swain. Yale's season will end a 19-12 record, but the Ivy League champs see their run come to an end here in Milwaukee. The Boilermakers are moving on into the round of 32.